guys, welcome back to We Watch a Movie. I'm Mike.
I'm Jay.
And Batman Forever could get darker and longer, just like... Well,
Bat
you don't want to know.
But what? Joel Schumacher's The cut of Batman Forever could exist. It's possible that Warner Brothers has in their deep, dark vaults of S.H.I.E.L.D. Network a cut of Joel Schumacher's film that is darker, harder, grittier, with all the bat nipples you could want, but with a good story in the middle.
Chicks dig the car.
It's possible. I don't remember the guy's name, but he was on the Fat Man podcast, Kevin Smith's podcast not long ago, and he said he had it on good authority that there does exist a Joel Schumacher, longer running, hard hitting, a lot more of an atmospheric Batman story. For a long time, people have blamed Joel Schumacher for fucking up Batman. And you know, and admittedly, he was in the driver's seat for a lot of it. But when you look at the evidence, when you really start stacking up the idea about what, you know, the kind of director that Joel Schumacher was, it just doesn't really make sense. Joel Schumacher also maintained that Warner Brothers interfered a lot, and they said, we gotta sell fucking toys, bitch!
Shit.
With the Snyder Cut coming out, like, I always thought, like, it's weird. Like, maybe he was telling the fucking truth. And now, you know, again, it's not 100% proven, but on good authority, at least what this one guy is saying, is that there is a longer, darker, grittier cut of Batman Forever. And, you know, there's also, it exists on YouTube itself, an opening sequence with Tommy Lee Jones escaping from Arkham Asylum that is a lot darker and grittier. Like, you have the Bat Must Die written in blood as he makes his way off into the night.
I think it's a fact that it's true. The question is how much is actually there? I think they said it was like 140 minutes long or something like that.
There was 40 minutes of extra footage.
Yeah. So, and if you look at it, a lot of that includes the deleted scenes that we already have too. You got to think about that. There's like 14 minutes or so of deleted sequences. The big rumor is that the Man-Bat was in it. That's not true. That's not true at all.
No, yeah, because the movie was going to focus more on the psychological damage of Bruce Wayne.
Right, so that was the darker stuff that they cut out. And one of those scenes was Batman wakes up and Val Kilmer wakes up. He doesn't remember who he is. He doesn't remember that he's Batman.
Must have been a hell of a party.
Alfred walks him down into the party. It was a great party.
It was so good.
Alfred walks him down into the Batcave and he's like, "You need to face your fear." He forces him to go into this like dark layer of the Batcave where he uncovers like a journal, and it's his dad's journal, and it's like 4 o'clock. Bruce wants to go see a movie today.
Well, fuck him. I gotta work.
That's basically what it said. It was like 5 o'clock. Bruce wants to go see a cartoon, but he might have to wait because we have our heart set on this specific thing. And then Val Kilmer's like, "Oh fuck, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault." He's been holding this guilt that he forced his parents to go to that thing where they ended up dying at. So he's like, "It wasn't my fault." And that's a pretty cool scene too. And then the next thing you know, this fucking bat starts flying over, and it's this big fucking bat. It's a huge bat.
That's a huge bat in the Belfry.
That's a huge bitch. And the bat flies over, and then Val Kilmer turns to it, and it's this huge animatronic fucking bat that's just like,
it's fucking scary looking. Like, even by today's standard, you're like, God damn. Am I watching Batman or fucking horror?
Motherfucker look like my anxiety creeping in at 2 a.m.
It does. It looks like the fucking hunger you have when you're drunk. You're like, I shouldn't do it.
It didn't look very good, but Val Kilmer
It was still kind of scary.
It was scary.
For a kid's movie, yeah. It was.
He turns face to face to it, and they both spread their arms, and they're like, "I am one." And then he walks back out, and he's like, Batman.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
He remembers who he was, but it's not Man-Bat. It's
a psychological, like, you know, damage that he has, like whether or not he's reaffirming that he is Batman, that he took the fear inside of himself, a lot like Chris Nolan did with the resurgence of Batman, like the fact that he saw, you know, like the idea of a fear being a symbol. But look, you know, if you look at the evidence, Joel Schumacher made The Lost Boys. He made Phone Booth. He made Flatliners. He made dark, gritty ass fucking movies. And then he goes to Batman, and it's just like, what in the fuck is this Richard Simmons shit? But you know what it is? I was guilty just as much as anybody else was, that I was blaming him. Like, oh, this asshole, fuck this. It was Warner Brothers, man. Like, I mean, I'm almost 98.99% sure, and that's a condom I'll use. It's 98% effective, but I'm that fucking sure that Warner Brothers did definitely take away from a film that we could have seen, that he said, he always maintained, Joel Schumacher always said, he had a very darker vision for Batman. And, you know, Warner Brothers, again, they were like, we got deals with Burger King, bitch. We gotta sell cups.
I do find it interesting, though. That was McDonald's, by the way. Those cups are dope as shit, though.
McDonald's.
I love those cups. But I do find it, I watched this this interview with him and some Dan Rather type dude, and he talked about it. And they actually, Joel Schumacher was defending his film.
I don't know what David is comparing it to. Potemkin. I mean, this is a Batman comic book. I think there's a very strong story in this. It introduces the Robin character. There's a love story with Val. They have two great villains in this movie and a lot of fun. I'm sorry that he can't see. I'm sorry that all of the hard work and energy, the beautiful sets, the costumes, the jokes, the choreography disturbs him so much. I'm sorry that he finds our film disgraceful. However, I can't agree with him.
When it came out, audiences loved it, but critics were shitting on it. So it made all this money at the box office, and everybody was freaking out over Batman Forever. But the critics were shitting all over it. They were talking. They were like, "It's like a 2-hour fucking commercial. It's a 2-hour trailer.
Toy commercial, yeah."
And he defended it actually, and he was like, "Look, he was like, what happened was I came on. He was like, they came to me and they were like, we want to give you our most prized property." And he was like, Mel Gibson. Obviously, it was Batman, and in his mind, he always assumed that it was going to be Michael Keaton.
At some point, Michael Keaton and Warner Brothers decided to part company, and they shook hands and walked away from each other. I was not in the room when this happened, so I can't give you the blow by blow. But at that time, Terry Semel and Bob Daly called me and said, "Have you ever thought of anybody else for this role?"
You said?
Val Kilmer. Once you have a new center to your project, to the film, it is a new film. And I was able then to not have to really be guided by the past.
You know, I know a lot of us have always wondered what a Tim Burton third entry would be like, you know, in his Batman vision. And I mean, definitely, I'm one of those guys. But, you know, originally his idea was, I think he was the one that wanted to cast Marlon fucking Wayans as goddamn Robin. It was something weird like that. And I'm like, nah, dude.
That was Eddie Murphy, wasn't it?
No, that was the original one. Oh. But I think at some point Marlon Wayans came into the discussion to be Robin. And I'm like, what the... And you know, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Maybe Keenan Ivory.
But you know, listen, yeah, I'd take Keenan Ivory. Not that Batman Forever necessarily sucked. I had a good time watching it.
I like it.
Yeah, it was all right. It's
not the best,
but it was also because it was banking on Jim Carrey being superstardom at the time. So when you saw Jim Carrey as the Riddler, it was kind of riding on the coattails of Jim Carrey at that point because he was a huge seller. And it made a giant amount of money.
So was Tommy Lee Jones dramatically.
Yeah, so yeah, it made a giant amount of money. And then obviously Batman and Robin butt-fucked us and we were where we were. But, you know, I just feel like, listen, if you go to YouTube and you watch the, it's a 10-year-old video I watched. The Joel Schumacher cut of the film, or at least the opening sequence, it's so much fucking different. It's so much darker. It puts you in a totally different atmosphere for what he wanted for Batman that you're like, God damn, this might be a totally different movie. And it's weird because Warner Brothers came out and you know, according to this source, and said they don't think there's much hunger for a Schumacher cut of Batman Forever, which is fucking untrue. Because I think they took a recent poll on Twitter and over 70% of people said, yeah, give me that shit.
They did, but there's also not that cry out that there was for the Snyder Cut. So the Snyder Cut was a big movement because it's more recent. Batman Forever's lost, like not lost in history, but it's so far away. Yeah. So everybody's not clamoring for it.
We got, you know, the Donner Cut, the Snyder Cut. We need the Ayers Cut for Suicide Squad and the Schumacher Cut. You already gave us 2 out of 4, so you gave us the Donner Cut. Richard Donner, that cut was to me so much more superior.
And the BVS Cut.
The BVS Cut. And now you're going to have the fucking Snyder Cut, which is going to be a completely, huge game changer for DC and Warner Brothers. So give us the fucking Ayers Cut for Suicide Squad and the Schumacher.
Use HBO Max to do it.
That's the cheapest route to go right now. And you know what I think they're going to wait. What they're waiting on is to see how well received the Snyder Cut is. And if the Snyder Cut is well received, and which I think it's going to be a fucking huge game changer. This motherfucker is like Peyton Manning calling Omaha in an audible. Like he's going to fucking change up the game. And as soon as they see that success, then you're going to see the Schumacher Cut and maybe the Ayers Cut for Suicide Squad.
I gotta say,
but let me ask you a question. When you saw that opening for the original idea for what Schumacher had, did that not feel more like a Schumacher kind of movie?
No, it felt good. But then again, Schumacher. Batman Forever was still a Schumacher movie to me because, like,
but it was so campy.
Batman and Robin's different thing. It was very campy, but Schumacher also filmed those scenes, and he was proud of the cut that came out. Schumacher liked the cut that got released. It's not like he hated it and like they took it away from him completely.
But they interfered.
He defended it, and it did well. And he even came out and he said, "He's like, dude, I made a comic book movie. It was a comic book movie, and I made it, and that's what we did." Here's where I stand. I want to see the Batman Forever supercut.
You sit.
That's where
You're sitting down.
I sit on it.
Yeah.
And you enjoy it.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see it. I hope to God they do it. I hope they break it out of the vault. I do think that this is being overcooked a smidge because I think, look, you're talking about an extra 40 minutes. 14 minutes of those has already been released in deleted scenes. So now we're talking math. I don't know, 24 minutes.
What?
26 minutes. 26 minutes.
26 minutes, yeah.
26 minutes of extra footage. And based on the edited footage that they took out, the Man-Bat stuff, it was a little bit deeper. It was Val Kilmer talking about his psyche a little bit more, but we got that with him and Chase Meridian.
Well, we only got a small part of it.
Right. It was a little bit deeper. It had a little bit darker stuff in it. I want to see it. I hope to God they release it. I will champion it, but I do not think when they release it, it's really going to change the tone all that much.
I don't know,
I think it's just going to be, it might be a little bit better. I think that's about it.
And I loathe to fucking say this, by the way. My nut even hurts saying it, but I would let David Fincher oversee it.
I mean, I would fucking but then you get into Josh Whedon territory.
Because David Fincher's never done a fucking Marvel or DC movie.
But we're not talking about reshoots. We're talking about
not reshoots, but oversee the actual editing of the film together, and that maybe his vision would match Schumacher's. Because look, it's really hard for me to swallow that dick. And think that Schumacher became such a bad director out of nowhere. I mean, I'm sure, absolutely, that you can have fucking directors make shit movies. That happens. But dude, Schumacher was on a particular type of film that he always produced. And then it goes to a weird position with Batman Forever. Yeah, it's got some dark elements to it, but it's more campy. And then you get into Batman and Robin where it's just complete camp. And, it doesn't feel, it feels so fucking studio involved.
I think Batman and Robin was more studio involved than Batman Forever. I think Batman Forever was actually more of Schumacher's vision than you think.
No, dude. He came out and literally said that Warner Brothers told him.
Look at Flatliners. Flatliners is a goth movie. It's dark. It's got some of that stuff in there. But Schumacher was all over the place. You're talking about A Time to Kill, Batman Forever, Falling Down.
All those movies are insanely good.
Right, they're good. But he was still all over the place as a director.
I probably did A Time to Kill. That was a fucking great movie. I just watched that.
Dude, he did a fucking ton of shit. But Flatliners, it had that goth feel. It was dark.
Yeah, I killed him. I'd do it again. I hope they burn it in hell.
But if you look at the background settings of that film, they were over the top, just like Gotham City was in Batman Forever. These people were living in a steampunk universe that made no sense. It was all over the top. It was all overdone. It was all over dramatic. It was all over stylized, just like Batman Forever was. I think that was probably 80% of the movie Schumacher wanted. But to get 100% of it, I signed on for it. I just don't think it's going to change the movie.
I think that he didn't even want to use the Tim Burton backdrop.
Well, that's what I was saying. He talked about that. He said he had Michael Keaton in mind.
Yeah.
And then he thought he was going to make a movie with Michael Keaton. And then when Michael Keaton and the studio couldn't come together, he said, well, the first name they came to him with, he said, I'd like Val Kilmer. He said, because I watched Val Kilmer and I forget which movie it was. He was like, I watched Val Kilmer in this movie, Tombstone. He was like, I watched Val Kilmer in Tombstone, and I remember sitting in the audience going, he would make a great Batman. Well, he was like, and then the interviewer said, so that gave you freedom to make your movie instead of a sequel to Batman Returns. And he went, yes and no. He was like, I would have been just as creative with Michael Keaton, but yes, in a sense, it gave me more freedom to make the movie I wanted. So basically, Michael Keaton not being involved with Batman Forever is why you got the whole different feel of Batman Forever.
Warner Brothers, and look, me and Mike are staunch defenders of DC. We really are. I mean, we love Marvel too, but we defend DC because they always get picked on and shit like that constantly. But in this case, Warner Brothers was the smartest dumb kid I'd ever met, like Varsity Blues shit. They got all these characters. They got access to some of the best and coolest characters of all fucking comicdom ever. And they fuck up that they have to get involved every fucking 5 seconds. Instead of letting Joel Schumacher had already proven that he could do really good movies, just let him fucking do what he wants to do. Because again, I trust the guy as far as him saying he wanted a darker version. And I think that if they had just stayed away and said, you know what, let him do his thing, you would have a totally different movie. And you know what, I'm going to bring it back because I don't want us to go off topic too far. If the Schumacher cut exists, I think it's only fair to let us see at least what was cut. And I mean, to Variety's credit, they did say, well, maybe it just wasn't that good. But I don't think that's true. I think if there's 40 fucking minutes that were cut out, 40 cocksucking minutes, not like 5, not 10, 40 minutes. I think that was enough that Joel Schumacher thought it was good, and it just was, for whatever reason, the studio was like, no. Well, I mean, look at Zack Snyder's cuts.
It was foretelling of the future, because Warner Brothers, that's why we're talking about the Snyder cut, the Batman vs. Superman extended cut, the super cut or whatever it's called. all these fucking movies, Warner Brothers obviously has a history of dipping their fucking fingers where their fingers shan't be. So
Get your finger on my
it goes
butt.
all the way back to Batman Forever. But again, where I stand on it at the end of the day is I want to see it. I hope it fucking happens. I would love to see the movie. I don't think it's going to change.
Do you think that
much.
Schumacher? Do you think though? I mean, in your complete penis honesty, that Schumacher, if given like no studio interference back in the day, that he could have made a very successful Batman 3?
I think Batman 3 was very successful.
Yeah, well, obviously it was. I mean, it made a shit ton of money because Jim Carrey. I'm talking about his actual vision.
I think it could have been a little bit better and a little bit darker, but I think ultimately, I think ultimately you would have got the same movie.
Well, also I don't know, man, because not only that opening different, you get the extended situation with the Riddler. He fucked up more shit with his cane.
That was one of the scenes. Is apparently Jim Carrey as the Riddler went in.
It's darker
into the Batcave, and it was darker.
And we always saw the number 23, and like I think that Jim Carrey.
Oh, he's a fucking actor, dude.
I think that they probably had scenes that were left on the cutting room floor where he got creepy. He got too creepy, and they're like, no, that's not going to sell toys.
Don't get me wrong. I want to see it. I think it'd be fucking amazing, and I really, really want to see it.
But then again, I also don't want to be that asshole. I don't want to be that asshole. I'm sure you guys you don't like the smell of asshole. So I don't want to be that guy that'd be like, well, every fucking movie that comes out, I need the director cut.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes, it's true. Sometimes directors will make a great movie, and they'll be their director cut.
But if you're a fan and you know it exists, you can't help but want.
But those director cuts is usually like adding like 15 minutes or something. It's not like it's not like Zack Snyder's case where it's literally almost 3 fucking hours.
That's what I'm saying though. I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference in the movie.
Well, I mean, but still, 40 minutes is still a pretty significant point of the movie.
Yeah. Technically, to me, it's 26 because we got 14 minutes.
Well, we got the first opening.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if that. Okay, I watched this video, and I don't know if that's in the opening, but if it was, like, holy shit! Did you see the one I saw where he's walking up the steps in the actual Danny Elfman? Bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
Dude, if that was in the fucking movie, that should have stayed. Like, I don't even know why that was taken out, but because they play the actual Batman, Danny Elfman theme of Batman when he's like getting his gear on and shit and he's walking up the steps, that was amazing.
Yeah. But you're still going to have all those Tommy Lee Jones, Two-Face, over the top, you know, crazy ass scenes that they did. Like, I'll make you understand. It's still going to be a wacky ass fucking movie. Yeah. Maybe you have a few extra dark scenes, but all that wacky shit is still a part of the movie, so it's still going to be the same movie. It's just going to be maybe a little bit better, a little bit darker, a little bit deeper. Not going to change the movie. Not. We're not talking about a Snyder cut here.
No,
we're talking about a tiny change in the movie. Even then, though, I would love to see that. I would love to see the one.
But I feel like it's worth it though, because I mean
I do too.
The Donner cut changed that movie significantly.
I want to see it. I think,
you know, and look, you know, it really sucks that Schumacher's not around anymore to appreciate the love for, you know, him coming
it sucks
out.
that this conversation started right after he died.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Well, it's been around since 2005.
Yeah, but it galvanized people after he died. But it really sucks that that's not, you know, the reality anymore. But nonetheless, I think that if you hire someone like with a darker vision, like maybe David Fincher or somebody like him to oversee it, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But whether or not it comes out, I think depends entirely on the success of the Snyder Cut. And if Warner Brothers realizes that's a huge moneymaker on HBO Max, let's fucking release the other one.
Yeah, it's sitting in the vault. Maybe it'll take 10 years before we see it. Maybe they need
plus, maybe it's all bullshit because the guy said a reliable source, so I don't fucking know who he was. So
yeah, true. Comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. We love your fucking faces. And if you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button and get some goddamn wham up in you. A clock. But in your dreams, you can blow his head off and have it your way.
Yeah, I think it was a McDonald's song. No, is that McDonald's that says have it your way?
No, it's Burger King.
Oh, Burger King,
You slut.